Hi again, here we are to continue our discussion of React Native, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up our project, and this is what it looks like so far. We've got our index.ios, and we've imported a component that we've created called app from the components folder over here, and we've rendered the app component in index.ios. So let's do a little work on our app component here. So we'll just do some simple things here just to get a feel for how this works. And it's a little hard to see, but it says hello world in the upper corner there, which is a little unsatisfying. Let's style this hello world. Okay, so let's say I like that, but I really want it to sit a little further down, and I want the text to be a little bit larger, like maybe this is the heading for my project. So how does styles work? Now, we're going to probably have to do a longer discussion of styles, but I'll just kind of put them in a nutshell here so you can get a feel for it, and maybe this will help you explore styles on your own. So essentially, we're going to write styles that are similar or very similar to styles done with CSS. But we're not going to actually write CSS code. We're going to write all of our styles as JavaScript objects, okay? And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a new style sheet object here in the bottom of my app class. So this is kind of the pattern that I use, is I always add the styles directly to the component that uses them, okay? So I'll say const styles equals, and then I'm going to use this style sheet object here. And this comes from React Native, so it's a built-in feature that they have. And it has a create method that lets you create a new style sheet object. But actually, your style sheet is just a JavaScript object. So actually, I'm not quite sure what this adds to us. Maybe some error checking, because I've seen other people do this where they just have just a regular JavaScript object, and it seems to work just fine. But I'm going to do it this way. So I'm going to say stylesheet.create, and then I'll put in the curly braces there. Okay? And then we'll apply some styles. Now, there's a few ways that you can approach this. This is the method that I've been using that works for me. I'm going to add, like, imagine, we have these tags up here, and if you've done any HTML, you might want to give each one of these like a class name, right? And maybe give this a different class name, right? So what I'll do is I'm not really going to use class names, but what I'll do is I'll put a name here in my style sheet, a key value or a key name that will represent sort of a class or sort of the styles that should apply to a particular object, but all the styles will be in this one style sheet. Okay, so let's imagine this view right here. I want to call it container. So I'll say, container colon. Oops, I misspelled that. There we go. So we'll say container, colon. And then the styles here for the view will go in here. So I'm going to give this style of flex1. And then I'll say maybe justify content. Let's say center. I don't know, right? We'll talk about Flexbox in a whole video. That'll be its own discussion, right? So I'll just do that. And then maybe let's do one more. Let's do background color is, and for colors, you can name a color. So you can use a keyword, or you can use the hex value for a color, but it has to be a string. Okay, so I'll put it in quotes, and we'll set the background color to light gray. Yeah, I think that is probably good. And then now maybe this will be the title. Right, so maybe I'll give that a class name of title. So I make sure you got a comma here, right? Because this is one object from the bottom to the top. And then inside here, we have another object with the key value container, comma, the next key is title, and then that has an object, right? So this will be for the text here. So let's set the font size to maybe 36, the color, this is the font color really, right? To, let's make it like red or something just so we can see it. It has to be in quotes there. So we'll say F00. And then maybe we want to make font weight. And for anything that has like a descriptive value, you probably have to put it in quotation marks. If it's a numeric value, you can just type the number in. And you'll notice in CSS you usually need to, or almost always need to include a unit, like PX or something, right, or EM. In React Native, we don't include the unit. Just put the number in, and it's always points. Okay, so for font weight, the value can be bold. And then what else? Maybe my text has a little space. I want to give it a little space at the top so it doesn't overlap the status bar. So maybe I'll give it margin top of 20. Okay, and that'll be 20 pixels. Okay, so how do I apply these styles now to my objects here? Well, what I'll do is on the view, I want to give it all the styles here in container. And so that's actually styles.container, right? So what I'll do is I'll add the style property, and then I'll put the curly braces here, and I'll say styles, so that's my style sheet object, and then I'll say dot container. Okay, so these styles here now apply to this view, and and everything in it, right? Now these styles for the title will apply to the text object. So what I'll do is I'll say style equals curly braces styles.title. Okay, so we'll save that, and then we'll refresh it here in the simulator. Oh, there's my gray color, and there's my text, and then it's justified center flex 1. Right, so we'll talk again about Flexbox later, but anyway, that gets you started on your styles, right? So remember now, the style names here are pretty much the same style names that you're using in CSS, but these are just the JavaScript equivalent names. So essentially, justify center in CSS would look like this, or justify content, it would be justify content. Right? Where in JavaScript, what we're going to do is we're going to remove the dash and then use camel case. Okay, so it would be justify uppercase C content, right? And the same goes for background color. So in CSS, you might have, background dash color. In for these JavaScript styles, what's going to happen is you're going to remove any dashes, and then at the word break, use an uppercase letter, so camel case. Okay, so anyway, thanks for watching. I hope that gets you started on your CSS styles in React Native.